What's up, everybody? It's Trelly here, and I'm here to walk you through your first Conquest game in SMITE 2. So let's talk about the Conquest map itself. When you spawn in, you and your team will be on one side, while the enemy team, of course, will spawn on the other side. The map consists of 3 lanes running the length of the map, from one base to the other, and a network of twisting and intertwining pathways in between the lanes called the jungle. In each lane, there are 3 structures that help to protect each side's base. Every lane has 2 towers, which, when destroyed, give your team experience and gold, as well as a structure at the entrance of the base called the Phoenix. Be careful though, these structures will defend themselves and can deal a lot of damage. Phoenixes are stronger than towers, and once destroyed, will respawn again after a certain amount of time. After your team has destroyed at least one lane's Phoenix, you can attack the enemy's Titan. If you defeat the enemy's Titan, you win the game. Simple as that. Now that you have the big picture goal, let's talk about some of the other things that are going on around the Conquest map. First off, you'll realize that in each of the lanes there will be waves of minions that will fight for your team. Your minions can be a great help when it comes to destroying towers and Phoenixes, while killing the enemy minions will grant you experience and gold. If you are a laner, this will be your primary way of getting experience and gold. There are also several objectives around the map, some small and some big, that can help your team get stronger in order to win the game. Each lane has a gold cache that, when captured, grants your team a small boost in gold. In addition, the 2 side lanes also have teleporters that, when interacted with, will take you from one side of the map to the other. The solo lane is home to the Warhorn, which, when captured, provides a buff to your team's next minion waves. The jungle that sprawls between the lanes has many jungle camps that will drop buffs to you and your teammates, as well as provide experience and gold. If you are the jungler, not a laner, clearing jungle camps will be your primary way of getting experience and gold. Lastly, there are 2 major objectives in the jungle that, when defeated, can grant your team huge buffs. On the duo lane side of the map is the Gold Fury. When the Gold Fury is defeated, your team will gain a big boost in experience and gold, as well as a buff that will last your team the rest of the match. Depending on how many times the Gold Fury has been defeated, the buff will change, eventually culminating in the Ancient Fury. If your team defeats the Ancient Fury, it turns off enemy structures, such as towers and Phoenixes, and leaves them completely defenseless. On the solo side of the map is the Fire Giant. The Fire Giant, once defeated, grants your team a massive buff to power and health regeneration, giving your team the edge in any fights for the next several minutes. These are both late game objectives that can tip the scales in your team's favor. Now that's pretty much everything about the Conquest map, but let's talk about what you and your teammates will be actually doing on it. When you load in a game, you'll be given a role on your team. This role will determine where you go on the map and what type of god your team expects you to play. The solo laner is generally a hybrid tank/damage character that can take damage and give it right back. These are the characters such as Bologna and Chalk. If you look at your minimap, the lane nearest the blue buff is the solo lane. Since the map is mirrored, it's not always on the same side, so make sure you find the blue buff and then you go to the correct lane. Next up is the mid laner. These are generally high damage, ability-based characters. This includes gods like Anubis, Zeus, or Hecate. These characters won't have much health or protections, but can deal a massive amount of damage in a very short amount of time. And if you haven't guessed already, the mid laner finds its home in the middle lane. The last of the 3 lanes is known as the duo lane and holds 2 people, your ADC and support. You can locate the duo lane by looking at your minimap and finding the purple buff. The duo lane will always be on the same side as the purple buff. Gods such as Anhur and Cernunnos make for great ADCs. They are the main source of damage against most structures, objectives, and are usually quite good at whittling away at the giant health bars of enemy tanks. For the beginning of the game, the ADC is partnered with the support. What the support lacks in damage, they make up for in tankiness and crowd control. Supports are great at taking damage from objectives, structures, and enemy gods, while using their crowd control abilities to set up for kills for the rest of the team. Gods like Bacchus or Ymir make for great support characters. And finally, there's the jungler. Like I mentioned before, the area between the lanes is called the jungle, and this is their domain. The jungle doesn't have any minion waves that will come to provide them with easy experience and gold, so the jungler has to go looking for it. Luckily, the jungle is littered with experience camps and buff camps for them to destroy in order for them to get stronger. The jungler is a roaming role and a constant threat to anyone in a lane that might have pushed up too far and is now out of position. Having the jungler ambush enemy laners, also known as ganking, is a great way to get you and your teammate ahead of the enemy team. Junglers are usually high damage, high mobility characters such as Loki or Fenrir. To round out this video, we're going to briefly touch on items and the item store. Each god can have up to 6 items at one time, but when you start the game, you will have none. As you play the game and gain gold and experience, that gold can be used to buy items. These items can provide stats such as strength and intelligence to make you do more damage, protections to make you tankier, or a multitude of other stats to make you stronger. To a new player, the amount of items can be a bit overwhelming. Luckily, at the beginning of the game, you'll be presented with multiple pre-made item builds that you can select from so that items will be automatically bought for you as you gain the necessary gold. If you are a new player to SMITE 2, we highly recommend using the auto-buy system. We understand that this has been a lot of information to process, and auto-buy allows us to take something off your plate so that you can get comfortable with the rest of the game. Keep in mind, you can look at the scoreboard during a match to see what every character in the game is built. Feel free to experiment and see what works for you, and don't be afraid of making a few changes. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are so excited for you to get your hands on SMITE 2. But please make sure you subscribe for more SMITE 2 content and go to smite2.com and register for the alpha code if you haven't already. We are so excited to see you on the battleground in SMITE 2.